What's going on, y'all? It is Lucius, and I'm back again with another video blog. I'm here with a special guest, my buddy Leo. He's an amazing astrologer. He's also from overseas. And so I've been knowing him, I think for almost over 2 years now. So we're just kind of picking back up from the last video. This is part 2. And we're going to be diving into twin flames, really looking at the meaning behind twin flames according to astrology. So, Leo, how you doing today?
I'm okay. It's early in the morning. I cannot speak too loud.
Let's jump into it, man. Let's pick up on, diving into the twin flame and how. How do we know that the twin flame dyad is a real thing? Like, how does astrology help us with understanding twin flames versus like soulmates, or is it all the same thing? Like a soulmate is a twin flame, So, how does astrology explain that for us?
Okay, that's a mixture between a very spiritual subject matter and a conditional subject matter. There are two platforms, the conditional platform and then the completely spiritual platform. Look, the situation is, if you have on the conditional platform very much disharmonies, you cannot come on the spiritual platform. For example, if one person have a Mars opposition with another person, like you act exactly the other way around, then it needs very much tolerance and respect, and you cannot come on the spiritual level. There is actually some information in the Vedas that you can achieve a spiritual deha, and that you have actually, this is a very far out subject matter, because you have already an eternal identity. And according to the Vedas, this is only a dream body. Also, you make reincarnation until you are, delivered from the cycle of birth and death. That's the idea in the Vedas. And the situation, as you have already an identity, you might meet somebody who, in his eternal form, in his Siddha Deha, has a similar job like you in the spiritual planets, like you. And that is a very interesting situation. The situation is you attract each other also then here on this level. But the point is, for example, I want to give you I have a backdrop for this. For example, this year, this is the moon-moon conjunction, okay? So when you have a moon-moon conjunction, it's like you go in a room with a person and you feel like your emotions are merging into his emotions, because your moon means, in the horoscope, moon means like what you feel. Like, how do you do? You feel, I feel like this, I feel like that. Okay, that is the moon, okay? So that means that when you are with the person together in a room, it's like your emotion, it's like emotional telepathy, okay? That is, for example, a strong compatibility. What do you think about that? Did you meet somebody with whom you have the same moon, maybe? That is a very strong moon. No, you don't know.
No. I'm just asking just for the general audience, because a lot of people just within like the conscious community. Speak a lot about twin flames and stuff. And so, just to help, the people, is a twin flame something that everyone needs to seek, or is it just, is it just for, certain people that may have to accomplish something because that's the agreement that they decided? Because I don't, like me personally, I don't feel like the twin flame story is for everyone. I feel like that's just for certain souls that decided to be that in this lifetime or in a past life or whatever. I don't feel like that's for everybody that incarnates on the planet,
You're absolutely right, because some people are not at that stage in their life. Like, for example, last time we discussed that some people, they know about previous lives. For them, it's important because they still keep up with things. And so the super soul inside of the heart gives the information, and some people not. And also one has to see what is actually the ruler of the 7th house in the horoscope, because this is describing your partner. And you have, for example, like last time I said, when you have Mars as the ruler of the 7th house is something else, like when you have Mercury and the ruler of the 7th house. It's always depend on what kind of film you have. You know, like there are certain kinds of movies. Is something like your love book or your life book is actually already written, and you just play it. And according to the game, or you will attract certain kinds of persons. Therefore, people, for example, they call me and say, why I always experiencing the same in a relationship? You know, how is it possible? Again, I meet this kind of man, you know, or this kind of woman. It's always the same. You know, like in India, you say you get the same sabji in a different pot. You cannot skip your karma. Sometimes you have, you know, you want to beam it out. You say, and then it's out, and then you think it's coming something else, but it's coming exactly how you need it. Okay. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause for me, just, you know, being on the path that I've been on, I've just come to just discover some things just intuitively. And that is, I feel that, especially in this particular lifetime, because we're all living in a lifetime that the zodiacal clock is transitioning from one age to the next. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like this is a time period where we're all meeting, you know, past life friends, past life maybe enemies, past life lovers. We're meeting all kinds of people, and I feel like that we have more than just one soulmate that we may encounter in this lifetime.
I agree. Yes,
you know, and it's because we have to do, you know, some kind of healing with that person. You know, and then, you know, then we may move on, and then we may encounter maybe another soulmate. You know, sometimes I don't feel like it's always like a new soulmate. It can be like, you know, past life soulmate because of karma that may have stemmed from a time when you were in Egypt, or a time when you were in India, or when you know what I mean? Like all the different lifetimes that we have. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In this age, you try to very much so try to perfect themselves. And they experience in one life what they normally would experience maybe in 20 lives. You know, it's going everything very fast, and you get everything on a menu card. And so the organization, also you see in the horoscope, you see that also in the hands. I'm making also palmistry. You see, for example, if there are 2 or 3 life partners, I would say sometimes you hang up with, I see that some people, they have, for example, a person for 10 years with whom they wake up and go in bed, okay? That if they are married or not married, I don't care, okay? I'm just seeing these persons, they are, for example, maybe 10%, they are for 50 years together or 40 years together. But what I get, for example, I have these long-term singles, couples in a crisis, and freshly heartbroken ones who approach the astrologer. And they, most of the time, they are in very intense karma, you know, for example, Pluto, or, you know, domination, or all kinds of games, purification games they have. And sometimes they also have, you know, an absolute far-out relationship. So all this you can actually see. And which kind of format of relationship you have. It's written actually in the horoscope. Okay, so, but the classical thing, for example, I can now take this thing, you know, for example, like sun aspect to moon aspect. Sun is masculine, and moon is feminine. if this is there, you feel like the man, can be the hero, the woman can be the receptive part. That's, for example, you have 50% in the pot if you have that constellation. And, sometimes it's good to know what's the name of the game when you meet that person. And that is good then to make an astrology session and see, what is coming up, what potential these things. We say in Germany, is it a one-day fly or is it something like you can dive deeper? Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, I guess that another psychologist, he said, to really come into an intimacy, sometimes it needs 2 years. For example, I want to explain that the first period is always Mars-Venus. There has to be attraction between a man and woman, if there's no attraction, there's no glue. You will not stay together. There have to be some glue. And then is coming Moon Saturn, because if you want to organize yourself in the day by day, Moon means day by day. Saturn means like test, checking the other, like more real. And then is coming Sun, Jupiter. And so you check this in the horoscope. Where is the sun, where's the Jupiter in the horoscope of the girl and where of the boy? And then you see where everything will go, for example. Or you look for the moon and the Saturn in the chart of the boy and the girl, and then you see how they work in the day-by-day life. Because the one person might be more like unorganized, chaotic, and the other is, for example, Virgo, always neat and tidy, everything has to be clean. And the toothpaste have to be closed. And then they have another, you have to see what are the energies in the day-by-day life and what is the first meeting. And sometimes it's only a first meeting, and after 4 months you are through. And then sometimes it's really something like after 3 years you're coming really to the point. I had one couple, they was throwing each other, how to say, the pots. And all kinds of criminal things was happening. And she was calling me and said, oh, this relationship is so crazy. I say, in 4 years you are married and have 5 children. You understand? And what was exactly like this,
Yeah. So now here's something that I feel like, I don't really hear too many people in astrology talk about. And since we're talking about dating, I'm very curious to know like your thoughts about a couple of things, right? So the first thing would be when it comes to the community that's known as the LGBTQ community.
What is this?
Okay, so it's like, people who identify as being like lesbian or queer or bisexual. Yeah, so in regards to like them, like we're able to even see that even in astrology as well. Because I know a lot of people try to say, oh, well, it's just, just only masculine and feminine, where, for some people that's not the case. Some people, are attracted to just the masculine. Some people are attracted only to the feminine. And then you have people that are attracted to both like genders, you know what I mean? So how does that kind of play out in astrology? I don't know if you have ever given any kind of readings for, Yeah,
that is happening. That is mostly shown also by Uranus in the 7th house, or Uranus square Venus. That is a typical thing of this. The situation is you might not really walk up in your body. Like, for example, believe it or not, I was traveling, as I was a monk, I was traveling with Boy George. Who is, do you really want to hurt me? Yeah.
Okay.
So, and one point we was visiting one Brahmana he was actually in Germany, this Brahmana, and he was touring, and we was going all to a session with this Brahmana, and he was telling us what we was in a previous life. So when Boy George was going inside, he was coming out, and he was saying actually, he was completely shocked. He said, I was a dance woman in India. Also like this, this kind of woman, And when you watch him, he's still, when you see his videos, like this chameleon or whatever, like he was making, he still has this Indian woman inside of himself. So he did not really wake up in his body, and he was actually in love with his guitar player. I mean, there was a couple, like, yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's still in the body he's already in the body of a man, but he still has the spirit of a woman. Okay. And that because the body change might be so, like it might just happen, So that is happening, that's a reality.
Right, it is. And I feel like, that's something that I feel like everyone needs to realize, that because I think we've been so controlled by religion and what religion says is right or wrong when it comes to dating and loving someone. We just have to shake those shackles off. Now, my next question is, what about people who are in the polymorous community?
What is this?
It's known as polymorous. So the poly community is a group of people who have more than just one lover. They may be married, but then the husband and wife may share a boyfriend or girlfriend. I spoke to a couple astrologers about it, and they kind of mentioned that I don't know if it's the sixth house. I forgot which house they were talking about, but certain people who are part of that community have certain placements within their houses, which is why you'll find them kind of having the same energies in the same house. When it comes to like having like open relationships and stuff, not your traditional, monogamous relationship, so to speak.
I heard about this in the Muslim community. That's happening.
Yeah.
They have this, and also if you go in the history back there, it was a custom, that a man might have two women. So first of all, when you want to have two women, you have to have the facility. You have to first the power to control these two women, because they might, they need a certain kind of leading. You must satisfy both, also financially maybe. Not everybody has that capacity. So if I see a person, for example, who might have, Jupiter, Venus, conjunction, Pluto, Rahu, very powerful person, also who has a rich, almost millionaire or something like that, then it is not problem. But you can have also a horror story, and these things are also manifesting. For example, I have often persons who are married and then, for example, women who have an affair with a boss. Also they make this undercover. They have then that I call double love. Because then they say, I love both persons. For example, that I don't want to give up my husband because he gives me a certain kind of energy, and I am also in love with my boss, for example, and I'm always slipping inside of this, and of course this is called cheating, but these things are happening, and people are confused then in this situation. And okay, I try then to help them to make the situation, the best what they can do from where they are, But yes, the main thing is, of course, you are the most peaceful. Like there is this Hollywood thing, this undramatical thing. She's meeting him, and he her, and then they was living happily after, but that is the very difficult. This is a good pious karma, but it's a little bit tricky sometimes. It's all subject matter, because you kind of put everything in a frame. Like as I say, very much people have a special karma plan, and it's very important to understand this karma plan and to see your possibilities, to not dream something about what never will be true. Because if you have, for example, this Hollywood dream or this I want to live happily after dream, and it's not in your horoscope, you struggle. just see who you are, see reality, look what is there, and, like try to be what you are,
Yeah. Because I really feel like, going into a whole new age, a whole new era, I feel like, the idea of relationships and what a relationship should look like is definitely changing from the conventional, traditional way of how we've been going about relationships. I feel like people are being more honest with themselves, and which is good, because I feel like when it comes to unconditional love and when it comes to experiencing love in general, love doesn't have like a number, meaning that, we say it's okay to love our brothers and sisters, our uncles, our mother, our father, our friends. But then when it comes to romance, then it's like, oh, you can only love one person though, and that's where we get kind of hung up at as evolving as the human race is, love should be unconditional. We shouldn't have conditions on love. And love should be a freeing thing due to the fact of we do have more than one soulmates on the planet. So say, for instance, if you're with a soulmate and then you come across another soulmate that you need to work out karma with, and sometimes the universe will force that karma to be worked out, then you have to have a strong enough partner, I feel, to be like, hey, I have to work out this karma with this other soulmate that I have. So, but that doesn't mean that that person is being less loved because they're trying to deal with karma from another soulmate, which people are getting into those situations. And I've been noticing that, I want to say since 2013, like years ago. Now I'm starting to see people starting to be a little bit more open and honest about this now. So I don't know what your thoughts.
Way to think. Our Mercury, I know that our Mercuries are a little bit different, and it's always exciting how you are thinking, and you're coming out of your world and I'm in my world a little bit.
Yeah.
But I find the points are realistic. And there is, look, in everything, there's always realism and idealism, okay? For example, you might have the idealism of this this Hollywood movie thing, and say, and everything what is outside is not possible, but this is not the reality. So right. the first thing, for example, we have patchwork families nowadays, which means like they say more like life period partners. Life period partners. That is also a new word which I heard recently, life period partners. And then, normally, of course, the result of sexuality is often a child, okay? So, and every child also deserves a father and a mother. And that also, it's for a child painful sometimes when they separate. So I must say, in my ethical view, I have the optimum in the backdrop. Then I'm helping people to, for example, if you plan a family, I try to coach the people in a way that they choose the right person for having a family,
Right.
Like, for example, if you want to, let's say another thing, completely another thing. I had a customer in Portugal. She did not want to have a family. She just wanted to have a child from different kinds of men. So she was making a child with a black. She was making a child with a Chinese, and she was making a child with a European. So she has 3 different kinds of child, but no man. She just wanted to stay free, so, and so there are different kinds of stories, but yeah, okay, you see this in a horoscope, and you help the people from what really is the reality, and what they can do, and yes, and then of course, as I say, if you have children, also, this woman is a special case, but normally a child is good when have father and mother, but even sometimes this is in the karma. it's that a child is raised alone by someone. Then you see this. This is, for example, to have, let's say, a heal parent house. Parent house is a good karma for a child. If your parents are staying together, and it's a beautiful, harmonious thing, and you see your parents love each other, and you get this, you see something like an ideal loving relationship where they're not just living like two dead people together, like that problem from you can play on broken strings. You can, you see, like the strings are broken, and there's a very good sentence in this song. We are playing house in the ruins of us. Just get this picture. We are playing house in the ruins of us. And sometimes a relationship is like this. The relationship is dead. It had not the capacity for a long-lasting relationship, and they're living like two dead people together. What do you think about this point about we can play on broken strings? Isn't it? Sometimes they are playing house in the ruins. Everything is already finished. Like, you can say also karma ventilator. This is also a good picture. Like when you have karma with someone, it's going like it's turning. But when the karma is over, the plug goes out and it's only whirling around and it's coming to a close. And then the karma is closed, and then it's, and that capacity you can see in the horoscope, of the relationship. Yeah.
To me, I feel that, there's a lot of people in the world that's not experiencing love due to these rules about love that humans come up with. And to me, I feel like that's not only hindering people, but then you're only experiencing love on a particular level, to where I feel that there is a more enlightened level of love that doesn't have jealousy involved, that doesn't have, neediness, someone feeling needy, you know what I mean? Like a love to where, everybody's needs are being met. Everyone, is also like independent within themselves and things like that. Cause I feel like I see people waste so much time trying to chase after one person. And it's like, there's so much love out here that you can experience. If that person doesn't want you, then let that go, because they're already making their choice. And, we have to allow people to operate in their own free will. And so that's something through my, past relationships that I've been in, that I had to let go of. Hey, these women chose to, go this route, and you know what? That's fine, but I'm not going to chase after them. No matter how much I care or love them, I have to keep moving forward on my path in my life, because I don't feel that I need to have, what I mean? I don't need to have this person. I want to have them, but I don't need them. And I feel like that's the difference between needing someone and then wanting someone.
This is what you say. I agree philosophically, totally. Freedom and love is together. You cannot put somebody a gun, love me. It's
right.
Not possible. And that the reality, on the other hand, is that actually I'm always dreaming about a love school and to make seminars and workshops about this. This is actually my goal, actually, to make a love school. At the moment, I call this project Broken Heart and New Start Clinic. And that is what I'm doing, actually, with some other people, with some friends. We are planning to do that.
Oh, nice.
And in this school, I will try to bring people to this. Also, we will try to learn this kind of things, because often people have this coexistence things, or, like all kinds of games and power games. We have to elevate to what really love is. And because otherwise it's only the name love relationship, but you, for example, you don't bring this content. For example, I call it, there is a love body between you and another person. And then you put positive content in it. For example, I'm not convinced that quarrel must be, for example, that this harshness or this brutal or intense quarrel, it's not necessary. You can, for example, you can have a respectful exchange. Yeah, you can train a more respectful exchange. And that is very much wanted. And no one, like this property thing, of course, I mean, you cannot possess a person because everyone has his free will, and you have to make your room clean and behave in a nice way. And then you can invite the person to act in a certain kind of way. For example, even with criticism, I would recommend you say, I have something you could improve. Are you ready to listen to it? But when the person is not ready to listen, who are you to start to speak? This is disrespectful. For example, this is by a day-by-day life situation, You speak and the other person don't want to listen, so you cannot speak. You're not allowed to speak. That is, for example, one rule, I would say, And for example, there are so much games, like, for example, there are always agreements between people. There are conscious agreements and unconscious agreements. And when you have unconscious agreements, then you come to a situation where the couple is saying, but I would think it's like this and this and this. Yeah, and I would think it's like this and this and this and this. And then they have this absolute misunderstanding. So better you come from conditional love to unconditional love. You have to make contracts. For example, I was reading this pop star Jennifer Lopez. She makes a contracts with her guys, And then she makes certain kinds of things clear, and then you can start with a business. Don't, for example, pretend you're on an unconditional platform. Start to make a business, and then securely go to the unconditional thing. It's also a very interesting rule. I think there's so much details. People think nowadays, like, for everything you need a school, for learning a guitar, for becoming a good sportler or something like this. But for love, I'm just done walking down the street and something is falling on my head and then I can love. No, it's not like this. We have to love. We have to learn to love. It's really like this is the greatest art. It needs the greatest character. You have to be a hero to love. You have to be practically a hero. It's not existing anymore. Everybody wants to have property and wants to demand and wants to control. Woman wants to control the man, man wants to control the woman. Like, for example, if you have Saturn, if you meet somebody who has Saturn in the first house, the Saturn is aspecting the seventh house, and this person will always have the habit to control you. You are in the supermarket. What are you doing now? Yeah, I'm in the supermarket. And where you're looking? You understand? Left. I'm looking left. Who is there left?
Right.
You see, that is, for example, the situation, But the point is, the reality that Saturn is in the first house means you become aware of yourself, because the first house is the self. But the Saturn is aspecting the seventh house. And believe me, Lucius, these persons are working a lifetime on this subject matter. Don't think that you can skip this. As I said in the beginning of the session, it's always the same subject, the same thing in the same meal in the different pot. And then you slowly improve, in this. And everybody has his game, And some people have also in the power games. They always have this power game thing, you know. And so that you have to really consider that what is your thing. And and some people have this completely spiritual thing, like they can grow, they can give a lot. For example, it's also sometimes you have a relationship where it's always like this, that the one person is giving more than the other. Look, I tell you one other thing, total verouting. If, for example, a woman has the ruler of the 7th house in the 6th house, that means that she must make more effort in the relationship than the other person. Like then this woman, they're calling me and saying, where are the cavaliers? I'm making everything in the relationship, or I give so much. So then I say, my baby, in previous life, you was arrogant, you was the snobby, and the other person was doing everything in the relationship to make this relationship work. Now it's on you turn. And don't calculate. Just give more than you can, just be happy that you can waste yourself. Just accept your role, accept what you are, understand your karma. That's so important to understand your karma. Otherwise you will come nowhere. You will have wrong expectations. The expectations is a big thing. You have to understand what you can expect and what you cannot expect. And then you have to accept your pot, what is in the pot. Because everybody has his role to play. And if you're not there, where's the other way, the point of self-realization? There's no self-realization.